What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Juvenile Reptiles. Today we're going to be talking all about tubs. We're going to be kind of going over the sizes of tubs that I'm using to raise my blue-tongued skinks, as well as when I am switching animals from smaller tubs to medium tubs to their adult tubs. You're watching Rooted in Reptiles, where you will find a ton of quality, evidence-based reptile keeping and captive breeding information. So when blue-tongued skinks are born here, they begin their life in a V18. Now this tub is 18 inches deep, it is 7.5 inches wide, and it is 3.5 inches tall. Now the babies stay in here until they're good, until they get going really well. Until they're good and they're eating, they stay in these tubs. And then I switch them up once the animal's head touches one side and the tip of the tail touches the other. That's how I have a surefire gauge to when this animal is ready to move up into a larger tub. I like the height of these tubs as well, because I have heard of breeders who have had issues with spinal dips from babies wall walking, and as that baby's growing and it's climbing up that wall and standing up on its tippy toes and pushing up on its tail, it is like flexing backwards. They're not very strong, like they're not built to be like that. So what that does is that can actually cause like a curvature of their spine, causing them to then, when they sit flat, to have a spinal dip. Not good. That's not what you want. So with this lower tub, they cannot possibly stand up. And if I have like a baby, I haven't had one yet, although this is the first year I've gotten litters. But if I have a baby that is trying to wall walk, then I will just fill this with substrate, and obviously not to the top, but I will fill it to the point where they cannot move it out of the way to be able to stand up. And obviously they have plenty of room to move around inside of here, even with substrate, but you don't want them to do that wall walking. They do it in glass tanks, they do it in tubs, so if you're gonna make the tub suck argument, they do it in tanks too, just so you know. So after they graduate out of this V18, they go into a V35, or you can use a V35 short if you have a wall walker, and I'll tell you the difference. So a V35, a standard, what I have here, V35, is 20 inches deep by 15 inches wide by 5.3 inches tall. A V35 short is 20 inches deep, 15 inches wide, and 3.5 inches tall. So I can get V35s and put them in the baby beast over here, and that would work. But you can get around needing the V35, again, by doing the substrate. If you have a baby that is just insistent on wall walking, you can put more substrate in here than it would need normally, just to prevent it from being able to have that room to climb up the wall and get that spinal dip. So again, once they're in here, they grow in here until, again, the head and the tail touch the sides. So once they hit that 15-inch mark, then they're ready to move up into a V35. Or into a V70, sorry. So this is the V70 tub. It's a pretty good sized tub. This is what guys have been using for a long time now, 25 years, is V70s for their adults. So this tub here is 34 inches deep by 17.5 inches wide by 5.3 inches tall. So it's the same height as a V35, which is how I use these adult racks. I just interchange the V35s and the V70s. Instead of having like a Juvenile or a mid-sized tub rack and spending that money there, I can just make these adult racks more versatile. They obviously don't look the best because the tubs sit back, but I don't care. So it's just a way to save money, really. And there's nothing wrong with this. I wouldn't have anything different other than it would just be shorter and a little bit narrower to fit tight up against the sides. The babies can't get out because they can't. It's the same as like an adult rack. It'll be the same, and it's the same here because the sides, the narrowness doesn't matter as long as the whole top of the tub is covered. But this is the tub that the adults will live in for their lives. You know, this, once they graduate out of this V35, then they're in this V70. You know, they obviously, I don't breed them in here. I breed them in tubs with solid colored walls because I don't want them to be able to see each other. That's something that I battled the first year breeding, was using clear tubs, and then the adults could see one another, and then the males wanted to fight with one another through the tubs, and it was just annoying, you know. So after that first year of breeding, we went to solid colored tubs instead of clear. So I hope this makes things a little bit easier for you guys who are considering doing racks, who have questions about what size tubs their skinks need to be in at what stages of life. Again, this isn't necessarily an age thing, it's a size thing. You know, putting a baby in a huge enclosure right off the bat is and can be stressful for them. I'm not saying necessarily that it's going to be stressful, because I'm sure some animals wouldn't be stressed, but some certainly would be. You know, and we're trying to keep these animals alive. We're kind of beating natural selection here from the standpoint of these babies would be born into the wild and you'd have a litter of 10 and 4 might survive that litter of 10, from anything like predation to illness, to just being weak at birth. You know, they just cannot find food in a large area because they're weak and they don't have the energy to move around. So when you put a baby in here, it's not far for it to travel to get food and to get water. It's always in close proximity to it. And the same goes as you go up. You know, obviously adults, they could be in a big area, no problem. The guys in Australia do it, but you know, here we don't necessarily have that luxury. And certainly I could do huge enclosures, but I think you and I both agree that that's not extremely efficient. And you'll say, oh, well, it's about the animal's life. Well, these animals, they don't know huge spaces. The animals are wall walking, like the male here, he's wall walking because he wants to breed something. You know, he is in the mood to find a lady friend and to impregnate her. And if I gave him a huge enclosure, he would be doing the same exact thing, because the walls are preventing him from wandering further to find a mate. But, you know, again, this is kind of personal preference. I'm not saying that this is factual. I'm saying that this is evidence-based. You know, I'm doing this based off of learning from people who've been doing this for 5 times or 6 times as long as I have been. And, you know, it's been working for them since the beginning, and it's still working for them now. So I'm not going to change that. You know, sometimes when you try and overcomplicate things, then it can be more difficult and it can only cause issues. So with that, I will stop ranting and I will let you guys go. Thank you for being here. If you haven't already, go on Etsy, check out the Skink merch, and we'll be posting some new stuff there as well as I get some new designs worked up, because I know that I have some pretty cool ones. And with that, I hope that this kind of gives everyone some clarification. So have a great evening, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.